welcome to Big Muddy Mayhem, the podcast where we talk about true crime and bad behavior in the Midwest.
Each week, we're going to bring you 2 stories from the heartland that might just break your heart, but we hope to make you laugh along the way.
I'm Janet O'Brien.
I'm Tracey Laricha.
And welcome
to Big Muddy Mayhem.
How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Janet. It's a little bit hectic getting ready for the holiday.
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving holiday next week. I've got dishes upon dishes to prepare. How about yourself?
It's been pretty busy. I went to a birthday party over the weekend. Somebody was celebrating their 50th. And, just been trying to figure out how to handle the podcast during the holidays.
Absolutely. We oh man, everything is speeding up and it's going to be just breakneck until the end of the week.
Exactly.
Or until the end of the year, rather.
Right.
So we are going to, we promise though that we will continue to bring you content.
Every week.
I was going to say every week. Even if we have to pre-record and and burn the midnight oil a little bit.
It'll be fine. It'll be all fine.
Absolutely. Well, we're just glad that you're here. And we hope that you're maybe ready to get muddy with us.
I think they are.
All right. Fantastic.
So I think Tracey's going to start with her story tonight.
I am ready to get in the mud.
Okay.
And I am going to tell you a story that I think that you will really enjoy.
Ooh.
So, we're going back to Wisconsin again. And I love Wisconsin.
Yes.
And if I know anything about you, Janet, it's that you love a ghost story.
Of course.
And that you love a lighthouse.
Yes, I do, in fact. Please tell me you're doing one about a lighthouse.
I am going to do a story about a haunted lighthouse.
Yay!
Yay! So this is going to be the story about, and it also, it's a little bit for you, but it's also a little bit for me because it takes place in my beloved Door County.
Aww.
You know that I cosplay as a Wisconsinite.
Yes, you do.
So this is about Minnehash and the Sherwood Point Lighthouse.
Ooh.
Have you been to the Sherwood Point Lighthouse?
I don't think. What town is it near?
It's in Sturgeon.
In Sturgeon? I have not been there.
Okay. Well, let me tell you about this lighthouse then. So it is in Sturgeon Bay, which is at the bottom of the Door County Peninsula.
Okay.
It is, Cecil, my goodness. Sorry, cat in the sink.
Cat in the sink.
Real-time podcasting, y'all. You see it all. So Sturgeon Bay is at the bottom of the peninsula. That's when I know that I am almost there to my favorite place.
Nice.
You drive past Milwaukee and then you drive up, up through the bay past Green Bay. Green Bay and Sturgeon Bay are actually on either side of one another.
Okay. And
Sturgeon Bay is where this is located. So the Sherwood Point Lighthouse is, I think, maybe the bottommost lighthouse
of
the Door County Peninsula.
Okay.
Now, it is not open to the public.
Oh,
Again,
really?
we want to repeat, it is not open to the public. It is owned by the United States Coast Guard.
Oh,
it
really?
is used just for Coast Guard members and their families to enjoy.
Okay.
So please don't go there. The only time that you can go there is that there is something that Sturgeon Bay does called Lighthouse Walk.
Okay.
I believe it's at the second week of June.
Ooh.
And then a lot of these places that are not open to the public are open for then.
Oh, nice.
Are open then. So the history of the lighthouse. The land was settled in 1836.
Wow.
The area was mostly loggers, trappers, fishermen, just...
Of course.
People that were making use out of all of the rich resources that Wisconsin had to offer.
Right.
Now, we get to a point where we need a way to connect Milwaukee to Chicago. Chicago has dry goods.
Mm-hmm.
They have farmland, which means they have an abundance of corn and wheat. Milwaukee has a whole lot of timber and a whole lot of stone.
Aha.
Chicago is trying to build. Milwaukee has a whole bunch of farmers that are living in timberland that maybe need, like, things to
Resources.
homestead on.
Yeah.
Right. So Joseph Harris Sr., who is the publisher of the Door County Advocate newspaper, he's like, hey, listen, we really need to have a way to connect Milwaukee and Chicago. So he petitions Congress in 1870. We need a canal. What we need, look, I've seen the indigenous people that have been able to get through this shallow water and, like, make a nice connection between Milwaukee and Chicago. We need this. Congress approves.
Oh, okay.
So economic depression then hits almost immediately. Halts work until 1877. 1878, the canal is built.
Nice.
It cuts 200 miles off of the journey and saves several days. It also keeps people from having to go through a very dangerous passage between Green Bay and Chicago.
Gotcha.
So they've got the canal now. We've got river traffic. Now we need a lighthouse to make sure that everything is decent.
Right.
So there's a land dispute, and finally around 1883, it's a little sketchy how that goes around. It might have been something that was kind of a little bit akin to eminent domain, where they're like,
gotcha.
well, we're going to just condemn the land and give it to the person that we need it, whatever to have it. But 1883, the lighthouse is completed. So this is where it all starts. It is unique amongst other lighthouses in that, well, it's built from red brick that they bring up from Detroit.
Oh, that's crazy, because normally part of Wisconsin has the yellow brick.
Right, and those all came from Milwaukee, right. So yeah, like the yellow and cream colored bricks came from Milwaukee. This is the only red brick lighthouse in Door County at all.
So this is where I make a note where my father needs to listen to this and tell us if he's been near this lighthouse. They visited all the lighthouses.
They have. They really, truly have.
Sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. So the first lightkeeper of the Sherwood Point Lighthouse is a man named Henry Stanley. Never trust a man with two first names. But no, although by all accounts, he was a good guy. Anyway, he came from Eagle Point Lighthouse.
Oh, okay.
Which was one of those cream brick lighthouses.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right. So he and his wife, Catherine, they move in, and they are the first lightkeepers of the Sherwood Point Lighthouse. So they're transferred, much like teaching your elderly relatives how to use a smartphone. Or program their Roku. Or what Alexa is for. Or explaining to them what, in fact, a podcast is. Well, Henry and Catherine Stanley have a little bit of a learning curve when they move into the new lighthouse.
Of course.
It is more mechanated. It has more technology than what they were used to at Eagle Point.
Of course.
And the mechanisms broke down. A lot of it was new technology. They were basically beta users.
Oh no. Beta users? That's fantastic.
They're having a hard time. In 1884, help arrives.
Help arrives? Awesome.
Help arrives in the form of Minnie Hesh.
Oh, okay.
Minnie Hesh is Catherine's niece. She is 21. She is vivacious. She is brilliant. She is helpful. She is clever. she is also in need of like some place to stay because both of her parents have just died.
Oh no, that's
So
sad.
Minnie Hush comes and stays with Henry and Catherine, and she keeps house. She charms everyone.
Okay.
She keeps records. She figures out all of the mechanisms of the lighthouse. She just brings sunshine on a cloudy day to everyone.
So she's basically the adopted granddaughter who's like, let me explain.
Exactly.
Got it.
She is the one that comes in and just kind of takes care of everything. And everybody loves her. Up to and including her future husband,
Ooh.
whose name is William Cochems.
Okay.
I might be saying that wrong. It's Cochems.
Gotcha.
He is born and bred in Sturgeon Bay,
Aha.
right there where they are.
Okay.
He owns and operates a hardware store.
Mm-hmm.
He falls head over heels with Minnie. So they court a little bit, they marry, and they move into town. But Minnie still feels obligated to her uncle and aunt, so she goes in as much as she can to the lighthouse and like helps them out a little bit.
Gotcha.
And so we now reach 1894. Henry is getting older.
Mm-hmm.
He is having a hard time
Yeah.
with maintaining all of this.
Lighthouses are hard to maintain anyway.
They are, those stairs.
Yeah.
So he writes and petitions the Lighthouse Authority to ask for help with the lighthouse. Specifically says that he thinks that his son-in-law, William, should be the person that would come and help them. And it's partially because he needs help, and it's partially because we're in an economic depression in
Right.
1894, and William is more or less broke. So they approve it. They're like,
nice.
sure, absolutely. So Minnie and William, they move back into the lighthouse. Minnie is so happy. She's back with her aunt and her uncle.
Mm-hmm.
She's at this place that she really loves. She's along the water. William is named the keeper of the lighthouse, after Henry dies in 1895. Something that I thought was interesting is that even though it was really William and Minnie that were running the lighthouse,
Right.
when Henry dies, his widow, Catherine, is named the assistant keeper.
Oh.
Even though she had never really done much to do the running of the lighthouse and probably would not, it seems as though they did that for her so that she could collect a pension.
Oh, yeah. No, that totally makes sense.
So they kind of put it on
Sure.
paper that way so that she can still collect a pension.
No, that's great.
And have some financial independence, because it is, after all, 1895.
Exactly.
1898, a few years later, Catherine retires. She moves into the town of Sturgeon Bay, and Minnie and William are the ones that are running the lighthouse at that point. They are a happy couple. She loves it there. She loves, you would think of the life of a lighthouse keeper to be very solitary. Not so with Minnie.
Really?
She loves to entertain.
Aw.
Anytime anyone is within spitting distance of her, she's like, come on over. And
Neat.
she breaks out the good china. She makes a nice meal. She gives them a place to stay. They raise a glass,
Nice.
They raise their family there.
Wow.
William and Minnie have very, very many happy years there at that lighthouse. In 1928,
Wow.
Minnie gets out of bed one day, and they think it's a probable heart attack. It might have been a stroke, but Minnie passes away very suddenly. William continues to run the lighthouse.
Gotcha.
In 1939, the Coast Guard takes over this lighthouse. And in 1983...
83.
Yes, so again, this...
We're jumping forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're jumping forward. So this lighthouse is finally automated in 1983. It is the very last automated lighthouse in all of Door County.
Wow.
And so, yeah, like it was funded and approved, like 1883, I guess, is when it's finally built.
Wow.
1983, 100 years later.
Yes, exactly.
It is finally automated. And so it becomes a vacation spot that still to this day is exclusive to Coast Guard members and their families.
Wow.
For military.
Crazy.
Yeah, military vacations. Now, that would be fun enough, but I'm going to get to the part where it's haunted.
Awesome. Yay.
Okay. So, Minnie, like I said, she just loved this lighthouse. Went there, left, came back again, died there. People that stay there, and we haven't really heard any ghost stories until like the mid-1980s when the
really?
Coast Guard started staying
when
there.
they started staying there. Gotcha.
Well, reports are that you hear a woman's laughter.
Okay.
Sometimes the click of heels on the staircase, up and down. Dishes rattling is a big thing.
Oh, wow.
Minnie liked to break out the good china whenever she had company.
Aha.
So dishes rattling. And then these are the ones that I think are like kind of the best. People have stayed there and said, I got up and I went and I took a shower and I didn't make my bed. I like just got up and went and took a shower, and then I come back and the bed was made. And there was one story that I read where a guy said he heard like dishes rattling, and he kind of half jokingly said, well, God damn it, Minnie, if you're going to make all that's racket, the least you could do is wash the dishes. And he went down in the morning and all of the dinner dishes were clean.
That's what I was about to say. Like, is she going to make you dinner?
And in the
make your bed?
There are reports of counters being wiped clean. Like,
oh my God.
And well, I was staying there and I came down and there was just one teacup and one saucer on the edge of the table.
Oh my God.
So she's pretty much the best ghost ever.
Yes, exactly. Can I have one of those?
Please, Minnie. Minnie, you can stay here.
Exactly. Oh my God.
So Wisconsin has everything.
Including ghosts.
Wisconsin has the best of everything. So they also have the ghost of Minnie, who will make your bed and do your dishes, and as far as I know, doesn't actually make you breakfast. I mean, there might be rules about the spirit realm.
Yeah, well, you know.
But anyway, you cannot, apart from during the Lighthouse Festival, you cannot go and see the lighthouse, but except from water. Like if you go across Lake Michigan, you can kind of go up and take pictures and stuff.
Gotcha.
Like that. But that is the story of the elusive Sherwood Point Lighthouse and the ghost of Minnie Hush.
I love it. That's so fantastic.
I love a Wisconsin story, and I know you love a lighthouse. And also, for the Papa Brummer, please tell us if you have been.
Yes, absolutely. Now I'm interested in the Lighthouse Festival. Mm-hmm. Really, really am. That's really neat.
Well, we'll add it to our Big Muddy Field trip list.
Oh.
All right.
So I have a story.
You do?
I do, in fact, have a story. And it might also involve ghosts because I have a problem. But there's a real story behind it. So we'll start there. Have you ever heard of the Villisca Axe Murder House?
Villisca?
Mm-hmm.
In where?
Iowa.
Iowa. V-I-L...
Villisca.
I have not.
So, in 1912 in Villisca, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
There's this small town, well, I mean, small-ish. It had about 2,500 people in it. On June 12th of 1912,
June 12th?
yes, no, not June 12th, I'm sorry, June 10th, 1912.
That's my birthday!
Oh my gosh,
June 10th
really?
Of 1912, yeah!
The Moore family and 2 visitors were found murdered in their beds. So, let's back up a little. The Moore family, they consisted of the 2 parents, Josiah, who was 43,
Okay.
Sarah, 39. They had 4 children. Herman Montgomery, who was 11, Mary Catherine, who was 10, Arthur Boyd, who was 7, and Paul Vernon, who was 5. They were an affluent family and well known in the community.
Okay.
On June 9th, the daughter, Mary Catherine, decided to invite a couple of her friends over.
Okay.
Ina May and Lena Gertrude Stillinger. Ina was 8 and Gertrude was 12, and they were going to spend the night. So that evening, the family came over, and then the whole family went and decided to attend church. They went to the Presbyterian church in town. There was a Children's Day program happening.
Okay.
And the children's program ended around 9:30 p.m.
So it's Ina, Gertrude, and Mary Catherine?
Right, so it's actually the whole family.
Oh, okay.
The whole family went.
But the kids
And
at the slumber party.
Yes,
right.
and the 2 extra children that are not theirs. So the whole family and the 2 girls, they all go. They went to this Children's Day program at the church, and then when it ended at 9:30, they got home about 9:45, 10 p.m. At 7 a.m. the next morning, on June 10th, Mary Peckman was their neighbor. She became concerned because she had noticed none of the family had come out of the house, like to take care of chores and stuff.
Okay.
They had chickens and things like that.
Right, so you're like, oh, well, the animals are getting nervous and nobody's come out.
Like, what's going on? So she went and she knocked on the door. Nobody answered. She tried to open the door, but the door was locked. She went and let the chickens out. And then she went, because it's 1912, they have phones now, so she was able to go home, and she contacted Ross Moore, who is Josiah's brother. Okay. She's like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but nobody's
up next door.
That's kind of weird. So Ross shows up, and he's got an extra key to their house, so he unlocks the door. And when he goes in, there is a guest bedroom, and he finds the 2 girls in the bed, murdered. Oh. And so he, the neighbor's standing outside on the front porch, and so he just, turns around, comes back out. He's like, go home, you need to call someone. So the neighbor, she goes back to her house, and she calls the primary peace officer. That's what they had. His name was Hank Horton. So he shows up. He went inside, and he looks through the whole house. Everyone has been bludgeoned to death.
Oh my.
The murder weapon was an axe. They found the axe in the guest bedroom with the 2 girls who were passed away. And the axe belonged to Josiah. But everyone's dead. The parents, all the kids, including all of them. So all 8 people are dead. The doctors, I guess they come and they check everything out, and they conclude that the murders probably happened around 5 a.m.
Oh, wow.
They did find 2 cigarette butts up in the attic, and so what their assumption is, the killer or killers were waiting in the attic for them to all go to sleep or, be very asleep so they can come down and kill them. They realized that where the murders started, it started in the parents' bedroom. Mm-hmm. Josiah received the most, that's the father, he received the most amount of blows.
With his own axe?
Yes. So much so, his eyes were missing. Isn't that crazy? Missing. Sarah, his wife, was the only one killed with the blade of the axe. Everybody else was used with the blunt part.
The blunt side.
Right, right. After everyone was murdered, they came back and they bludgeoned the parents again. So I don't know what's going on. It's just crazy.
That feels personal.
It does. It does. Very, very much so. So then the killer went down to the kitchen after he killed everyone, or they, I don't, whose it is, and they apparently pulled some food out of the icebox, and there was a glass of water that had blood in it, so they were probably drinking some water.
And then
they got blood in it.
Oh.
Yeah, but they didn't eat any of the food they pulled out of the icebox. So they have no idea who did it, and they, even though this is a pretty small town, they came up with a lot of suspects, which is the interesting part of the story. First off, we have the first suspect they came up with was Andrew Sawyer. He was a transient. He was not charged. He was obsessed with the murders, though. Like, you know, because this is like a big deal town thing. And he also slept with an axe in his bed. So, you know, they had to check that guy out, right?
Fair. Although if being obsessed with murders, like, puts you on a suspect list, then you and I are...
Yeah, we're doomed, aren't we? And then the second person, who was the one they really tried to peg down, but it never went anywhere. I mean, it kind of did. In town, the night of the murders, there was a traveling minister by the name of Reverend George Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
He was considered peculiar. Apparently, when he was a teenager, he had a mental breakdown. As an adult, he was considered a peeper.
Okay.
Yeah. And he would ask women to pose young women to pose naked for him. Yeah.
Oh, we don't like
I don't know if he was a peeper. I think it was more of a creeper. That's what I'm getting. He left town that morning when between 5 a.m. and 5:50 a.m. He apparently did confess to the murders, but the jury didn't believe him. So what's going on here? In 1914, they put him in a mental hospital. Okay. And then in 1917, he was arrested for the murders, but he went through 2 trials and he was acquitted.
Both times.
Both times.
Okay.
So, again, you know, he might, reading the information on him, to me, it sounds like he just might have been crazy, and that's why he admitted to it. But, you know, who knows?
There are definitely things that are like...
Yeah, I have no idea.
To be explained here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he was culpable, like, or was responsible for this particular crime.
And then there was Frank Jones. Frank Jones was another suspect. He was a resident of the town. He was also an Iowa state senator. Josiah used to work with Frank at an implement store. I don't know what an implement store is. I guess it's just one of those stores that kind of sells everything.
Like dry goods.
Yeah.
Grandpa Pigeons.
Right.
Central Hardware.
Exactly.
Let me think of other, like, defunct hardware stores that I can mention.
Josiah, when him and Frank, they ran that store together, but then Josiah opened his own store, and it drew business away from Frank's store, including John Deere. Yeah.
That John Deere.
Yeah, that John Deere.
Oh. Well, he'll get the last laugh.
So Josiah was also rumored with having an affair with Frank Jones' daughter. So, I don't know what's going on here. And then there was another person who was on the suspect list by the name of William Mansfield that they felt that maybe Frank Jones might have hired to kill the family. And he was a possible serial killer, but there's really no information on that man.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't know. I got more. Because I have a suspect list is long. We have Henry Lee Moore. He was convicted of murdering his mother and grandmother with an axe several months after the murder. Again, nothing happened. And then we have Sam Moyer, who was Josiah's brother-in-law, so his wife's brother, and he often threatened to kill Josiah.
All right.
But an alibi cleared him. So, you know, those were all the suspects they had back.
Janet, this is like week 1 of The Bachelor. I cannot keep all of the contestants straight.
I know.
I'm going to have to wait a few weeks to figure out how they're going to shake out.
I know.
So keep going.
So we only have one more suspect, but we didn't even know about the suspect until 2017.
Oh.
So there was a book published in 2017 called The Man from the Train. It was written He was written by Bill James and his daughter Rachel McCarthy. They believed he's a serial killer. He killed 59 people in 14 separate occasions. What he would do, he would pick families that lived along the train tracks.
Oh.
And he would find an axe on the property, and he would cover the bodies with like blankets or whatever, and that's how all this family was found, to eliminate blood splatter. So, and they live near a train track.
So the noise.
Right. So, well, then, no, the train track, he was on the train.
Oh.
He would stay on the train, get off a train, go into the small town, kill some people, maybe take some things, get back on the train and move along.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And this guy's killing spree lasted over a decade.
Oh, wow.
But, again, we will never, ever know.
No.
Never, never, ever know. So, now we're on to the ghost story part.
Okay.
So this house is still there. They have basically turned it into kind of a tourist trap, and it's also a place you can spend the night if you want to. Paranormal investigators provide video and photos of the haunting. The house serves as a paranormal hotel.
Okay.
A group of 6 can rent out the house for $428 for an overnight. Accommodations are very limited, so the people are encouraged to bring sleeping bags, but you probably are not going to sleep very much.
No, I guess not.
They do also do tours. Sometimes they get cut short because they will hear children's voices. Lamps will fall. Ladders will move. There will be flying objects. There's been 2 televised, I guess, online or whatever, investigations. BuzzFeed did a paranormal investigation, and the show Kindred Spirits, which is, I think, on the Travel Channel, they did an episode in 2021 about the house.
Oh.
It's where they spent the night and they recorded stuff and all that. So yeah.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry a terrible thing happened on your birthday, but it was before you were born.
It's okay. It was long before I was born. I wasn't even there, man. No, that is fantastic. And I like the idea of being able to go to someplace kind of like...
Right. Oh, I have some pictures of it too.
Small and spooky. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We will certainly put all of our photos in the show notes.
Absolutely. So I'm going to show you pictures of the house first here. Let's see. Screenshot. Here we go. No, that's not what I'm looking for. I am still looking for the pictures.
It's
Just
okay.
Ignore me.
No worries. So
here's the house back then.
Oh, wow. So it is a very small, like, kind of, it's 2 stories on one side and then, like, a big kind of wraparound brick house. Right. It looks to me as though it would probably be, like, easily big enough for, like, 3-4 bedrooms.
And there's the sign in front of it.
Villisca Axe Murder house now. Mm-hmm. It looks very much the same.
Yep. And then the last picture, this is what they posted when they passed away on the newspaper.
Oh, wow. And again, you can tell, like, from all 3 of those photos, they look all the same. He looks like he came home angry every day. She looks like she has just resigned herself to her fate. And they have a young boy that looks like Little Lord Fauntleroy and a young girl that has just got like the sourest face, and then a little tiny baby that just does not understand how she ended up in these people.
So they're obviously missing a picture of one of the kids, but yeah, that's what they posted in the newspaper when they were murdered.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Janet.
Welcome.
Shall we take a little bit of a break?
I think this is where we should take a break.
All right, fantastic. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
If you're from the Midwest and you have any suggestions for stories you'd like to hear, please send them to bigmuddymayhem@gmail.com. Make sure also to join our Facebook page, linked in the description. We also now have merch, which is linked in the description. This will help support our podcast. There are, I know, so many hours in the week, and we know that you're giving us one of yours. We are incredibly grateful, incredibly thankful. Another way that you could help to support the podcast is to give us a nice rating, a nice review, 5 stars, say something nice, wherever it is that you get your podcast. And now let's return to what's nice here.
And now we're back.
And welcome to What's Nice Here.
So we have a couple of what's nices. I think I was going to start with mine first.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what's nice in the town in Iowa. Wow, I am already forgetting the name of it. Villisca, Iowa. I will get it eventually. So what's nice here is that there's only about 1,200 people in this town. So it's gotten a lot. Yeah, it's like half the size it was back in 1912. They have only one, back then, they only had the one public funded armory in the whole state of Iowa.
Oh my.
So I think that's why there were so many people there.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to go with a cafe because it's such a small town, there is not a lot of places to eat there.
Sure, 1,200 people.
Yeah, there's a Casey's. And then there's TJ's Cafe,
Mm-hmm.
which is located at 307 East 4th Street. They're only open from Tuesday through Saturday. They close at 8 p.m. They have booths along the bar. There's actually a bar. They have a lot of homemade food that looked amazing. And when I was looking at it, I'm like, Tracy's going to really like this place and wishes she could eat there.
I bet that I would. I mean, Tracy likes to eat all kinds of things.
Food is awesome. Just food is awesome. So they, it looks really good. We're going to start here with a picture of the inside.
Oh my goodness, those floors are beautiful. Dark brick, dark wood floors, a black and white checkerboard ceiling. It looks so cozy. Very inviting.
Right. Here is one of the things on their menu.
Oh my. So is that bread and
meat
what is that
and
sandwich?
I
And
don't know.
onion rings too? I see those
look how
onion
thick
rings.
those onion rings are. They look really good. And here's another picture of the bar.
Oh my. Oh my gosh.
So it looks really nice. And this is what got me, their mac and cheese picture.
That mac and cheese looks amazing. It is very saucy. The noodles are absolutely fully cooked. They are not going to be too crunchy at all.
And then they also have desserts.
And these gigantic caramel sticky buns and cinnamon rolls.
They look really good.
Oh, I
really
could see
good.
myself digging into
Yeah.
a whole big tray of those.
So it looks like they do have office breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it just looks amazing.
Fantastic.
So that's really, there wasn't a lot in that town, so mine's kind of short for what's nice, but there you
That's
go.
all right.
TJ's Cafe.
That looks lovely. Janet, are you ready to hear about what's nice in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin?
I am.
Okay, so Sturgeon Bay, like I said, it is at the very, very bottom of the peninsula.
Right.
And that's kind of when if you're driving up from somewhere like St. Louis, then that is like when you're like reaching Door County.
Right.
And one thing that you can see in Door County, in Sturgeon Bay, is the Door County Maritime Museum.
Ah.
It is alongside a working waterfront. There are a few different things that you can see there. The first thing is there is a lighthouse that is built there as well.
Of course.
And it's called the Jim Kress, Kress, Jim Kress Lighthouse Tour. you can see Sturgeon Bay from one side and Green Bay from the other.
Oh, neat.
Remember how that's why the canal was first
Right.
built, was to be able to kind of get from Sturgeon Bay to Green Bay. Multiple floors, and it's almost like a David S. Pumpkins adventure where each floor of the museum has like a different focus on
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
maritime history.
Oh, neat.
So yes, you can go and see multiple floors and a little bit of the different like maritime history of the area on each floor. And there is also a tugboat.
Ooh.
So outside of the lighthouse, but still kind of on the property of the Maritime Museum, there is the John Purves, I think. It could be Purvis. It could be Purves. It's Purves. History would be a whole other episode of this boat. Like, there is so much history about this boat in particular that it's too much to get into.
Okay.
However, it is a tugboat that was built in 1919. It has now been fully restored. It's 149 feet long. And when you go to the Maritime Museum, you can go down and up to get on the tugboat, and you can see the entire thing. The engine room, the galley, the cabins, the wheelhouse, all of it. So if you have, as I do, like kind of below deck envy, where you like really want to go and see what it's like on like large working boats, you can go and see the boat from the ground, and then you can also climb up to the top of the lighthouse and see what the working harbor looks like.
Neat.
And so for any of us that have like a little bit of sea envy and find ourselves in Sturgeon Bay, this is a beautiful way to be able to see both Green Bay, Sturgeon Bay, and like know what working on a boat is like.
That's awesome.
And so for Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, that is my what's nice here.
Nice. I would love to go there sometime.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, we're rapidly accumulating a whole list of Big Muddy field trips.
Yes, we are.
We will work on them. But in the meantime, we will also still keep like kind of researching and keeping you in stories every week.
Absolutely.
And we really appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in and listening and getting muddy with us.
Thank you for being our muddy buddies.
I was going to say we love our muddy buddies. And as we always like to say,
stay Midwest nice.
Stay Midwest nice.